And Coach, as I mentioned, we're officially in phase 2, but players are still scattered all over the world. This is maybe not a problem, but something that a lot of teams are dealing with. What would you say is the timeline and or at least the expectation to have everyone back in skating together for your team?
Well, obviously, we've probably been in a little bit different situation than most teams because we were in the epicenter of this, terrible disease. 1, 2, we're the youngest team in the league, and not many guys are married, so guys don't stay here year round. So a lot of these guys go places. For example, the Islanders, they're an older team, and a lot of guys, make their homes year round in Long Island. So when this started up again, they had 10, 12 players, already living around the area. We don't have that. That being said, there's a huge level of excitement. I'm shocked how excited I was about the fact that we can have 6 guys on the ice without any coaches to skate around. But it is a sign that we're getting back to where we eventually want to get to. But, we also want to be timely in this. There are a lot of guys in different parts of the world that have been training, have been skating in an environment that's fine for them right now. So, we want to be optimistic and we want to be excited, but we also want to be realistic about when to get everybody back here at the right time.
Quinn, you had a very difficult start to the season in terms of 3 games on a 16-day stretch. And we spoke about that last week, and you said, look, it wasn't easy for us as coaches. The players were sick of practice, but now you're looking at a 3-week training camp period where you're going to play against one another. But do you think maybe there's some crossover where you look at another sport that would experience a schedule like that that's unique to you as an NHL coach? Maybe your favorite team, the Patriots, you could give Bill Belichick a text or something and find out what the protocol could be?
My favorite teams now in football are the Jets and the Giants, so it's a tie. So, but without question, you can learn from people that are going to be in this situation from different sports because this is unique in the situation we're going to be in. As I've said before, we've got to find that balance of, working our guys, being prepared. My idea right now is to scrimmage a lot. I just think the more we get guys going in game situations under these circumstances, the more prepared we're going to be for those games that get started for the playoffs. And, but there will definitely be some reaching out to other sports to figure out, how to manage these situations because it is going to be unique.
You focus a lot on the importance of winning those one-on-one battles, being hard on the puck. Those are things you really preach. And rightly so, they're things that can separate one team from another. So do you feel like those are things that players just know to do instinctively, or is there a way that you work as a team or as a coach to kind of get your players better in those one-on-one battles and being so hard on the puck?
I think that you can certainly create situations in practice, maybe not just flat out one-on-ones, but there are drills you can do where there are multiple players involved where you create one-on-one situations. And, I do like the cross-ice games because I think with those games, you just create, just through the game, a lot of one-on-one battles. And, it's quick thinking in small areas. It's beating people to the middle of the rink. One of the things that we've been doing, obviously, we've been doing a lot of coaching stuff over the last month. And the thing that good friend of mine, Mike Hastings, who coaches Minnesota State, I love this term. There's good ice and bad ice. The good ice is the ice in the middle of the rink, and the bad ice tends to be the ice on the perimeter. And, we want to own the middle of the rink. We want to own that good ice, and we want to beat people off walls. And, that's a big piece of A, defending, and B, being creative and good offensively. So, when you do play those cross-ice games, you're creating a lot of those scenarios where it's not just, okay, throw a puck into a corner, here's a one-on-one battle. It's pretty much it can be a little bit of a disguise from a coaching standpoint where you're creating these scenarios where you're creating one-on-one battles, but it just isn't about that. It's also about playing hockey within, creating those battles.
Quinny, before the puck drops on a D-zone face-off, I remember looking up and seeing Jed Ortmeyer or Blair Betts and loving that feeling as a goalie because they're honest players. And we've talked a lot about your stars, but Jesper Fast, he's one of your honest guys that you can lean on as an example in the video room, in the locker room when you're addressing the team. How important is he going to be for this playoff?
Very important. I mean, he's very important for us in so many ways, not only what he does on the ice, but the way he goes about his business off the ice. He's a great example for our young players. But boy, one of the things, he's a good player. I mean, he's a good player. He's a guy you can put with Panarin and Strome, and, he can be very, very beneficial to that line in so many ways. It may not have all the flash that some of the high-scoring players do in our league, but he's a guy that makes that line go in so many ways. He allows those guys a little bit of freedom offensively that they may not be able to have, maybe playing with somebody else. He's been able to contribute offensively, and we're just lucky to have him.
As we do each week, we go through those defining moments in the season, and we've got to talk about that incredible franchise record 9-game winning road streak. It was spanning over 6 weeks, and the previous record was 7 games. We know how brutal the road can be, and just from a mental and physical standpoint, how were you able to sustain so much success during an extended period of time like that?
Well, like I said, I think it was a byproduct of what we were going on through earlier in the season. And once we started having some success and finding combinations and chemistry within the lines, within the D-core, you could just feel the whole attitude in the locker room change. And, you know, we weren't intimidated by being on the road. Our guys embraced the challenges of being on the road. We understood what was at stake. And it just, you know, we didn't really differentiate, you know, our mindset from being on the road. And, you know, I just know as a coaching staff, when we were going through that stretch, there was literally a level of confidence that we had. And I use the word swagger a lot. We had it. We acquired it through hard work and through our trials and tribulations of what we went through earlier in the season. And, you know, there was a level of confidence, not arrogance, and there's a fine line between those two words that allowed us to have the success we had. And we never doubted that we were out of a game. I think we had proven that throughout the early part of the season, that if we were down, we had the ability to score goals. So, you know, one of the things we talk about is we have the ability to score, and scoring is hard. So we can do things a lot of teams can't do. We just got to continue being good at the things everybody can do.
And Quinny, your team, you know, they had a chip on their shoulder all year, as if they played as underdogs at times, and you set that mindset for them early. You could see it. Knowing now that the playoff format that the NHL released, they'll all be technically road games for you guys. Are you going to use that approach, that underdog approach, and just the message to the guys, why not us? Why not us? And then have that approach right when training camp begins so they can get their mindset on the challenge ahead?
Yeah, that certainly has been the conversation we have had with all our players. Why not us? And I think there are 23 other teams that probably feel the same way, especially with the unique situation we're in with these playoffs. And, you know, that being said, why not us from our end of it? I think there's a lot of validity to it because of what we did from January 1st on. I mean, this isn't just, you know, words that we're throwing out there where it would be crazy if we had some extended success in the playoffs. We feel like we were, you know, trending in that direction. We felt like we were going to make the playoffs, and we felt like whoever we faced, or once we got in the playoffs, it was going to be, we had a chance to win. And, you know, you can't win if you don't think you can win. And our guys believe in themselves, and they believe in each other.